Hey everyone, it's Mark from snowonly.com. Today here, I'm just going to go through a bit of a presentation. Hope you can all stay with me until the end. I speak to quite a lot of buyers about buying their ski property. And one thing I hear quite constantly, and obviously this is a lot of subject to affordability and approval of mortgages and all this stuff, is that the compromises that people make. And I've been in real estate for 25 years and we want to be proud of what we recommend, and we want it to be the perfect property for people so they're proud of it. We want these principles to be a liquid asset, so we don't want people to not be able to sell their property should they want to do so in the future. We want the property to appreciate, and most of all, we want people to enjoy the property as they dreamt it. So what I'm going to present to you today is a bit of a thing that I think is something that you shouldn't really compromise on. So you're proud of your property. It meets the expectations that you had, however long you've had that dream for. And as I said, it's an appreciating liquid asset as long as you stick to the principles of what I kind of go through in this presentation. So the presentation is don't compromise on your dream ski property. Now, some of the conversations I've had with people recently is that they're inquiring about properties and then they're explaining the property that they want. And then I'm telling them that that property doesn't meet their needs. We all kind of, me included, we've all had a dream of what our ski property purchase is going to be like. What we, from all of our experience is of going to ski resorts, what you liked, whether it's ski in, ski out, or whether you kind of prefer to be further out, or whatever it was, the views, the hot tub, whatever that is, there is a fundamental dream there in place. And in my experience, it's best to stick to those dreams. Otherwise, the property, you don't use it as much and it just becomes a bit of a burden and something you didn't really want. So let me fly through this presentation, and I sincerely hope it helps just to put a bit of a reminder to people about what they're buying a ski property. This is, I love this. This is an AI generated image, and I put in the principles of what I wanted from a ski property. As you can see, it has the sauna, the hot tub, the log fire, the outdoor space, the proximity to the slopes, the chalet style, plenty of light, everything that I would want in a ski property. So I thought I would use it through this presentation. So you don't often buy a ski property. This is a once or twice in a lifetime decision for most people. Unlike a primary residence like a city apartment, a ski home is emotional, experimental, and rare. For me, it's obviously like buying a new car or getting a new phone, obviously a lot more. But that's the kind of purchase it is. It's not something that is a necessity. The arguments I put through this is the argument for. If you're going to do this once, do it right. Compromise now means living with regret every single winter. And this is the conversation that I hear with a lot of people, that I'm saying to them, why are you buying that? And they say, generally it comes down to, oh, this is how much I can afford. But my argument is, but you don't want it. Why don't we find something that meets what you're looking for, what you always dreamed of? And then we can move from there. There's not much point in pushing people into a decision, because somewhat later down the line, either they're going to pull out because it's not what they wanted, or they purchase it and then live with the regret and going, can I sell it? And then it doesn't become a liquid asset because you've not stuck to the principles of what you wanted in the first place. So that's my first point. Secondly, location is non-negotiable. You can fix it later. You can't fix it later. You can change your kitchens, you can change your furniture, you can upgrade your balcony, you can put in new floor, but you cannot change a location of the property. You cannot change ski in, ski out views or sun exposure. So the argument is, you can compromise on finishes, but never on location. The dream elements of what we see coming into our sites are ski in, ski out, mountain views, privacy, proximity to lifts. And what I love at the end here, these are the permanent value drivers. This is what everyone is asking for. So if you stick to these principles, which adhere with most people's dreams, then obviously this is the value drivers, making it a property that will appreciate, and you can sell at a future date should you need to do it. Maybe the kids have got to 25 years old and have all fled and are living in somewhere else, and you don't use the property much. It has to be a property that you can sell. So location is fundamentally important. If you're going to buy a property that's 20 minutes down the road in a resort, that is not a permanent value driver for people, because the funnel opens up so big that it is very difficult to find buyers for that. That works for you, but not for anybody else. Rarely anybody else. Every compromise reduces how often you actually use the property. I love this. Buyers that think, I'll make it work. Reality says otherwise. The argument is it easy to access? Is it close to the lift? Is it comfortable after a ski day? I spoke to one guy the other day who was talking about buying, say, 10 minutes walk. And I said to him, at the end of the day, once you've done 8 hours skiing with your children and your friends, when you get to the bottom of the slopes, are you going to want to walk 10 minutes with all your ski gear once you're absolutely knackered? And then very quickly we were like, no. Okay, so that rules out so many of the properties. So we come back to location and how comfortable it is after a ski day. We know for a fact, if these things become a burden, you're not going to use the property as much. Also, from a rental point of view, no one asks to be in a property that's 10 minutes from the slopes. People want good access. So you will use it less. A dream property pulls you there, even for short stays. If it's something you love, you're going to make the effort to go there more often. Wellness, I said this in a different video recently. Wellness is a new luxury, not a nice to have. Après-ski today is about recovery, calm and balance, not just like nightlife. If you've ever been skiing in Japan, which I have been fortunate enough to do quite a lot, they don't really have so much of a nightlife. It's all about going to the onsen. You can sit there and have a few beers, but it's all about the recovery for the next day's skiing. And you can see that Europe is kind of taking that on to a certain extent. Obviously, there's places like the Folie Douce that people love to go to, and après-ski is a huge, huge part of skiing. But there are still fundamental elements that people are inquiring about, which are hot tubs, saunas, fireplaces, views, silence. These are what made people feel restored, not just accommodated. A ski home should improve your life, not just store your skis. This is kind of the thing that kind of brings everyone back to it, isn't it? Like, you can go have your après ski, but if you do have a property that has some of these elements that you love going back to, it just makes the whole experience a lot better, and something you could be proud of, and something you could invite your friends to. You don't want it to be a place that you're not really loving enough. Regret is more expensive than stretching. Most buyers regret not going far enough, not going too far. Most people regret not going far enough, not going too far. The argument is, and this is very true. You'll never say, I wish I'd bought a worse view, but you will say, we should have bought a ski in, ski out property. I don't want people to kind of live with the regret of when they purchase a property that they wish they bought something else. We then go back to the same principles that we had before of, if you do want something better or you do want to upgrade, then we have to sell the property that you had. And if you made too many compromises for where there is no demand, it's very difficult then for you to sell your property. So you can't actually get what you want. So if we try to do that in the first instance, then we won't have to go through this process. So it's very true. We should have bought a ski and ski out property. Location, as we go back into the slides, is obviously extremely key. We wrote one of our first articles that we ever wrote on snow only about 10 years ago, and I can put the link in down below, was about the reason why people go skiing. It is about the memories, not the square meters. I think that what we do, in my experience, and this is not just ski properties, but real estate in general, is that we have a dream that we're trying to go after. And that dream is obviously about the memories, about what you plan to do. I had a conversation with a guy recently that was saying that he wanted to stand on his balcony and watch his kids ski past while he's having a coffee and just be fundamentally so proud in what they're doing. And then he chose a property that doesn't have any of those elements. And then we said, why don't you do this one, which we changed properties? And he said, well, it's more expensive and you don't get as much size. And my argument was, what does the size matter? If the idea is that you want to stick to the dream of watching your kids ski past, if you have a property that's 5 or 10 square meters bigger, what dreams are you going to get from that? Are you going to dream that you had an extra 10 square meters? It doesn't really make sense. So I think a lot of these things is all about the memories and not the square meterage, because we all had a dream of what we kind of saw about how we want to use our ski property. This is where obviously the kids learn to ski, the friends gather by the fire or on the balcony, the morning starts with the mountain light, the evenings are in a hot tub under the stars. This is why we're kind of buying a ski property. And another point that I wanted to mention, which I think is really super interesting, is we all start with this dream at the beginning, and then we get caught up in the things that psychologically are a bit of a struggle for us. These are raising the money, obviously, mortgages, people pushing currency on you, which obviously we do to a certain extent, notaires telling you loads of answers about how to set up your business, what name to put it in. Then it all becomes a bit too much. Obviously, you have, what's the other one? Wealth management, all these kind of things. Stuff that we obviously offer to the right people. But what people tend to do is that they get a bit caught up in all these things in the background. They lose sight of the reason that they wanted to buy the property in the first place. And then they get burdened with this part of it and then go, oh, I don't want to do it anymore. It's not what I thought. And I always say to people, the dream is still there, but you have to go through this process to get there. This is just part of the process. And it can be, we try to make it a easiest process as possible, but it is the process that you need to go through. Once you've done that, then you can get back to the part of buying the property. And people kind of look at very short term. So they'll go, oh, this is 6 months of hassle. And I'm like, yeah, but it's 10 years of living your dream. So let's get through the 6 months of hassle. And then you can have all the dream bit part at the end. This, again, is a point I wanted to notice on when people make offers and then get disappointed, I guess, that the developer or the reseller isn't accepting the offer that they have. You're not buying the property to get into a negotiation with the seller of the property. That's not the principal reason people are buying properties. The principal reason that buying properties is because the dream to start with, to say, this is what I want. Just because the seller won't go down by 50,000 euros, in terms of the next 20 years, how much really is that 50,000 euros going to make a difference? It's affordable. So don't make it about the fight of winning the price. Make it about, does this property work for you for all the dream elements that I had? And if so, be happy with that process, that you found something that matches your dream. Obviously, there is a negotiation process to you, but if you're going to play hardball just to win it, surely the biggest principle is the dream at the end and the next 20 years. I guarantee in the next 20 years, most people aren't going to go, God, I'm still annoyed by that extra 50,000 euros that I paid. No one's even going to think about it. What you're going to go, this is the best purchase for me because it made all the dream that I wanted come true. And I never understand why people get bogged down in that part of it rather than the fact of why they started it in the first place. So you're not buying a property, you're buying future moments and memories. That's the bit that I always try to promote with people if it matches your criteria. Dreams have a time window. This is certainly true. Children grow, energy changes, life gets busier. If not now, then when? A dream delayed is often a dream downsized. Again, I think it's the same sort of thing that we were kind of discussing before, that people say, I will look again in 2 years. I think it's quite clear, even from a ski perspective, a lot can change in 2 years. Who knows if we'll even be around in 2 years? So if there is an opportunity to do it, what are you waiting for? It's also, I think that there's an appreciation to ski properties in the right location. That I spoke to someone recently that said, I'm happy to wait a year, but this is my budget. And I said to him, but in a year's time, the property will have appreciated and price per square meter would have appreciated. You're not even going to be able to afford what you want, and everything is going to become smaller, which means your square meterage is going to get even more condensed. So what are we actually waiting for? I understand that there's a lot of life factors going, and if it isn't your principal dream, then I understand that. But it is, I urge most people to act now to start living the life that they wanted. That's what I'm trying to do. The last one is, you can compromise on many things in life. Your dream ski home shouldn't be one of them. Now, obviously, we are a ski company selling ski property, so you can take that as you will. But if you do, which tons and tons of people that come onto our site do, have that desire to have a ski property, then I would just try and stick with these fundamentals of whatever it is that you dream about or you dreamt about. Try and stick to that process, because any compromise will just make it a little bit more difficult. Anyway, I hope that you've enjoyed this quick presentation. Please feel free to have a chat with me, mark@snowonly.com. You can email me and I can reach out with a call, and maybe we can discuss your dream ski home and where we can find it. Anyway, thanks guys. Take care. Bye.